Good morning, Year 4. I hope you're all well. Today in Maths, we are going to have our final lesson on looking at different methods of dividing numbers. We are going to be dividing 3-digit numbers by 1-digit numbers using mostly the part-whole model today. So you have your daily fluency questions here. So if you spend around about 3 minutes on these, please, and pause the video where you are. Off you go. Okay, number 1, 84 divided by 3. So you may have used place value counters or a place value chart to work this one out, and the answer is 28. Now if you notice with question 2 there was a pattern here, and because 85 is 1 more than 84, it means that we are going to get a remainder for this answer. So it is 28 remainder 1. Number 3, find the product of 5, 8 and 9. Well, if we know that when we are finding the product of numbers, we are multiplying them all together, we can start by multiplying 5 and 8 or 5 and 9. And then when we have multiplied 5 and 8 together, we can multiply that number by 9, which is 360. Then we can work out 72 multiplied by 5. Again, you can use a place value chart and counters to help you, or alternatively you could have used the short written multiplication method that we have looked at previously. And the answer is again 360. Finally then, round 4,523 to the nearest 1,000. Well, we can think, which number are we going to look at? Are we going to look at our thousands? We know that the digit 4 represents 4,000. We can then look at this number 5 to think, are we rounding up to 5,000 or down to 4,000? And we are rounding up to 5,000. Okay then, so today we are going to do exactly the same as yesterday, but this time we're going to be looking at dividing 3-digit numbers by a 1-digit number. So here I am working out 609 divided by 3. You will notice that my place value chart looks a little bit different to what we've previously looked at. Can you see what's different about it? That's right, we have this new column today for the hundreds column. Now we know that we still have 3 rows because we are dividing by 3. The number 3 is our divisor. Now, can you tell me before we start, what does this number 6 represent in my number? That's right, it represents 600. Now, this number here, 0, does this represent my hundreds, tens or ones? Absolutely, it's my tens. But does it mean that the tens don't exist and that we are going to just skip them in our place value chart? So we're just going to cover this up and just have my hundreds and ones? No, we still need to recognise that there are tens, but there are just no tens there. And then we can see we have 9 ones. So I have made the number 609 with place value counters. Now, remind me, do we start when we are dividing with our hundreds, tens or ones? Hundreds, well done. So I know that I can split my 600s equally between my 3 rows because I know that we can divide 6 by 3. So you can see that I have got 200s in each of my rows. Now I do not have any tens, so I'm going to just skip past it for now, but you need to remind me, Year 4, to include my tens in my final answer. So we have got here 9 ones. So we are going to start by putting our 3 ones in each of our rows because I know that 9 divided by 3 is 3 and I can use my times table knowledge to work that out. I can then see that I've got 2 hundreds and 3 ones. So my answer is 23. No, that's not right, Miss Newman. I can hear you say, no, that's not right. You're absolutely correct. We have got 2 hundreds, no tens and 3 ones. So my answer is 203. Thank you for reminding me that I need to always include my tens in my answer, even if I don't have any of them there. Okay, I've got another one for you here, 576. We're going to work through this one together and then you're going to have a go at doing a few on your own. So, do I start with my hundreds, tens or ones? Remind me. My hundreds, thank you. So I can see that I've got 5 hundreds and I'm dividing by 4. Now let's see if we have any hundreds left over that we need to make an exchange for. So I can see that I can put 100 in each of my rows, but I have 100 left. Now, because I cannot fit this into my place value chart, what can I do with this 100? That's right, I can exchange it for 10 tens. So now I can see that I can start to use my part-whole model to help me, and this is going to help you today too. And I can see that I have partitioned the number 576 into 400s. I can see that I've only used my 400s here rather than my 500s. So 400 divided by 4 is 100. So I have 100 in each column, in each row, sorry. So now I can exchange this 100 for 10 tens. And I can start to put my 10 tens in my tens column. And I know that I have got 17 tens, but I can use my times table knowledge to know that 16 divided by 4 is 4. So we are going to be left with 4 tens in each of our rows. And I can go back to my part-whole model and see that I have used 16 tens, which is 160. So in my place value chart here I have 160 represented by 16 tens. And 160 I can see divided by 4, I can look at one of my rows to see that I have 4 tens, so 160 divided by 4 is 40. Now I have 1 10 left over, what am I going to do with it? That's right, I'm going to exchange it for 10 ones. Now I now have 16 ones, and I can use my times table knowledge to know that 16 divided by 4 is 4. So again, I'm going to have 4 ones in each row. Now, I can go back to my part-whole model one last time, and I know that I was partitioning this number into my final amount, which was 16, because I have 16 ones here. Now I know I'm dividing by 4, and I can look in one of my rows and see that I have 4 ones left over. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. Now I can see that in each of my rows I have 100, 4 tens and 4 ones. So 576 divided by 4 is 144. Okay, I am going to have a go at this one once more, and then I think it's your turn. I think then you'll be ready, because this one is a little bit different to what we've previously looked at. So 115 divided by 5. I know that I'm always going to start with my hundreds because that's my largest value in this question. But I can see here that my divisor is 5, but I do not have 5 hundreds, so I cannot put any hundreds in my hundreds column so far. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to start by exchanging my 100 for 10 tens. So I can now see that I have 11 tens. So I'm going to start by placing my tens in my tens row. So I can see that I had enough tens to have 2 tens in each row, which is in each row, which is 2 tens, which is 20. Now I can see that I had 1 10 left over, and I could exchange that for 10 ones. Now I have 15 ones left over, so I know that 15 divided by 5 is 3. So I should have 3 ones in each of my rows, and I absolutely do. So I can see that I have no hundreds, 2 tens and 3 ones. And I have partitioned the number 115 in this example into 100. I've got 10 tens in my row of 10, which makes 100. Divide that by 5, giving me 2 tens in each row. And then I divided it by 15, partitioned it into 15 ones. And I divided those 15 ones by 5, giving me 3 ones in each row. So 115 divided by 5 is 23. Okay, now it's your turn to pause the video and have a think. How could you use a place value chart and the part-whole model to work out these two questions? Pause the video and spend about 5 or 6 minutes having a think and having a go. Off you go. Okay, so let's look at question number 1 first of all. So we can see that we have made 765 in my place value chart. So I have used 5 of my hundreds, and I have had to exchange 2 of my other hundreds to give me 20 tens. And I have then used my tens and made a few more exchanges, and finally I have got the answer of 100, 5 tens and 3 ones, which is 153. Now the way that I have partitioned this, and the way you may have partitioned this too, is I have partitioned it into 500, dividing that by 5, giving me 100 in each of my boxes. And then I've partitioned my tens into 25 tens, giving me 250, dividing that by 5, giving me 5 tens in each row, giving me 50. And then I have partitioned it into 15 ones, dividing those ones by 5, giving me 3 ones in each of my rows. So that is 153. Having a look really quickly at the next one, you can see that I've had to exchange my hundreds in this number because I did not have enough to fill all of my rows. I have then made the exchange, and then I have been left with 6 tens and 7 ones. And let's see how I partition this. So I partition the number 201 into 180, 18 tens, dividing that by 3 as 3 was my divisor, and I've been left with 6 tens, which is 60. And then I had 21 ones, dividing it by 3 as that is my divisor, and I've been left with 7 ones in each row. So that is 67. Okay, we're going to look at one more example here together. So 776 divided by 4. I can use my part whole model sometimes and not have to use my place value chart. So I'm going to show you now how I can partition 776 when I am making sure that each of my numbers can be divided by 4. So I can first start by thinking, what multiple of 100 can be divided by 4? I have 700s, but I know that 700 cannot be divided by 4 because the number 7 cannot be divided by 4. So I've taken it down to 400 divided by 4 because I know my answer is 100. And then I've got to work out, well, how much do I have left over? And I can work that out by working out 776, take away, subtract 400, giving me 376 left over. I then have to partition this number 376. And now this is where I'm thinking, what number do I know that is divided equally by 4? Well, I can use my 4 times table and count up to 36 and think, well, the number 36 is divided equally by 4. So I can scale this up, times it by 10 to give me the number 360. We know that 36 divided by 4 is 9. And then we can add the 0, giving us 90. And then we know we have 16 left over, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. We have then worked out that 776 divided by 4 is 194. Okay, now it's your turn to have a go at questions 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 on the worksheets. Pause the video here now and have a go, please.